2024 is a shitty year, and I'm glad it's almost over. Welcome to Friends Talking Nerdy. This is Tim the Nerd, and seated next to me, we have Professor Aubrey, and we have a little tradition on this show. Each and every year, we've started doing this ever since the stuff like Spotify Unwrapped debuted. The beauty of a streaming service is that they can give you a little report on what you listen to music-wise throughout the year.
Is it the beauty of it, or is it the creepiness of it?
Yes.
Both and.
Yeah, because on the one hand, it is fun to be able to find out what you listen to and also to have conversations like we're going to have today, talking about our top 5 most listened to tracks of the year. But on the other hand, yeah, people should be a little concerned about just how much data these companies like Google, which owns YouTube Music, our streaming service of choice, are able to collect from you on a daily basis.
Yeah. It's a lot of data.
A lot of data that they are making buku money off of, and we're just signing it away.
Yes, because they're selling it to advertisers, whoever those people may be, like whoever's trying to sell the stuff. And what is it, the stuff that they're trying to sell?
We
Like,
are the product.
we are the product?
Yeah, because to your point, like they view us as a means to an end, these social media companies, because without us, they don't have the thing that they're really making the money off of. We are the product that they are selling to advertisers or whoever else wants that information.
Right, but what I'm saying is, who are these advertisers?
It could be legitimate companies, but I mean, look at how ads are very different based on the people using it. Like if I opened up my Facebook and you opened up your Facebook at the exact same time, we would have different types of ads that are based on like previous searches that we had made.
I mean, we have talked before about the echo chamber, and like Facebook couldn't be more, X couldn't be more, like there are very few platforms that are in the style, sort of old style BBS, where all it's providing is a forum and it's not, even keeping data.
Yeah.
It kind of rolls off. They don't keep it all.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about music.
Okay, yeah, that was a bit of a diversion, but I think it's important to point out that everything comes at a price.
Indeed, it does. It's the world that we live in here. If you do want to take advantage of some of these things, like a streaming service, for example, it is important to realize that there are consequences, even though the consequences aren't gonna maybe see you get you kicked out of your home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The consequences aren't going to be that bad for you, but I wonder how much of the economy is related to social media at this point, and will that just continue to grow?
Well, and look what social media has been doing in the political realm as well. Mr. Musk, you bastard. Anyway.
Yeah, so anyhow, new media. Love it.
Yes, we do. We love it. It's we sound like the audience members after the Hypnotoad on Broadway.
Yeah, we have no toad.
We love it. How about in order to talk about music, how about I start with my number 5 most listened to song of the year?
That sounds perfect.
This is a song we've talked about on the show before. I have the luxury of being able to listen to whatever music I want to at work and on my way to work and at home. Not everybody, employment-wise has that luxury. There have been plenty of times in the past where I have not. I've had to work, retail, and this time of year, thankfully, when you're listening to this, the holidays will be wrapping up. But think about, the shriek that you hear from Mariah Carey singing about whatever holiday, what I don't want to repeat that stupid song, but we all know that horrible song she does every freaking Christmas.
Yeah, there's some bad Christmas music for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of respect to George Michael, but Last Christmas is not his best effort ever. But the beauty of being able to listen to music. What a great start to the show. We're hungry, we're sick, Anyway, the beauty of listening to music, especially on the way to work, is how certain songs can get you pumped up. Listening to morose stuff when you're on your way to work can definitely affect your mental health. And, when you, like me, you have to work with a pack of dogs throughout the day, listening to like the Kingsman Trio would probably not get me into the right mind frame to be able to do, what I need to do with my canine friends on a daily basis. So this song is from a band called Accept. And again, we've talked about this before, but they're kind of like a German version of AC/DC. And their biggest hit in America, at least, is Balls to the Wall. My
Oh,
number 5 most listened to song of this year. And it, like an AC/DC song, very simple riffs, loud riffs, Chuck Berry would be proud type of deal. But I just love the fight aspect of this song. Now, I did first get introduced to it by Beavis and Butthead, and if you look on YouTube, the clip of them talking about this particular song is on there, and they were not as complimentary as I thought they would be.
really?
Yeah, they basically they didn't. They were goofing on the lead singer of the band. I forgot his last name, but his first name is Udo, and Udo, I am Udo. I sing for accept. I don't know what kind of accent that is, but it's not German.
It was kind of weird Siberian.
Yeah, there you go. But remember basically it was Beavis talking about how the lead singer looked like he was on the toilet taking a really big crap.
Uh,
Just ooh type of voice. But I don't know. For some reason, I really enjoyed this song, and when we talked about it last time, what I liked about it too is the creative side of me, the writer side of me. When I think of stuff like this, I think of what I thought of was, wouldn't this be great in a female-led action movie?
mm.
Kind of flip the script type of deal, like a woman crashing a tank through a brick wall with Balls to the Wall playing in the background while she's chasing a bad guy in the tank. Come on, that'd be awesome.
Well, I can see why you would be attracted to music like that.
Yes. I mean, come on, think about it though. If Jane Austen were alive today and wrote movies, she
Hmm.
would do that. Okay, maybe
I
she
don't think so.
wouldn't.
I don't think so. No. Her stories are still just as relevant today. And I mean, I guess those kinds of movies fall into certain categories, right? There's heist movies, there's military movies, there's prison movies, like sort of everywhere where there's a great amount of conflict,
Yeah.
because that's the drama of it.
Yeah, it's more of the visual aspects of the story propelling the audience along.
Hmm. I'm not a visual person, really. I'm more like word related.
Yes. Yeah, when you went to see Jane Eyre in theaters, you just had the book, comparing it, that's not what they said on page 42. Fuck you. Anyway,
That's not true.
I know, I'm being sarcastic.
They were very good, though. They were very close to the.
Yeah. Well, anyway, any thoughts on Accept, on Balls to the Wall?
Apparently, I should know about it because we've talked about it before, but it's
So
one of
memorable.
those, right? It's one of those things that's like, oh, it's a band that's like a hard rock band. Like, my brain just kind of clicks off.
No, I get that. I get that. I mean, yeah, when you go through your list, I'm going to have similar responses. I get it. And that is okay. That is the beauty of music. I, just because I enjoy something and you can, use you as well, vice versa. Just because I enjoy something doesn't mean anybody else has to.
Right, and everybody has different opinions.
Different opinions, different musical taste.
Hmm.
Yeah, everybody's different. That is honestly why I do love talking about music on the show because yeah, it's like very rarely. Maybe there is like a Billy Ray Cyrus. type of person. Like, why is he making music? Or a Kid Rock, something like that would be kind of offensive, but How about you dive into your number five?
So my number five is from a band called Stardust, which isn't really a band. It's an electronic music person or two. It's always hard to tell with these people, how many of them there are, just like with the band, right? Like we didn't know how many musicians were in the band, right? You just heard them and then you looked it up on the album and then maybe you remembered, maybe you didn't.
Well, it depends on the type of music as well. Like, for like in the 80s, hard rock, most of the band is going to be in the video performing their instrument on stage. So you'd be able to, like in Aerosmith, all five members of the band are going to be up there. So, but it is different for electronic music because we can all be Daft Punk in our hearts.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I guess I experience electronic music somewhat differently than other kinds of music in that I don't often see the visual. And what I imagine in my mind when I listen is just people dancing. But anyway, so this is Stardust, and they have a groovy, disco-y kind of guy called Music Sounds Better With You, which is really just there's some songs, especially EDM songs, that seem like they are written for a riff to be sampled. And they just repeat that riff over and over and over and over again in slightly different ways throughout the song. So, yes, most songs do that, right? Most songs have verses and choruses and verses and choruses. These songs are like only the choruses, if that makes sense. So, anyway, it's happy music. I listen to it when I'm working. It makes me feel peppy and helps me stay awake and stay focused.
Well, again, the beauty of what music can offer. Now, I've was thinking about this today because I knew you would have some EDM choices on your list, and EDM in a lot of ways is kind of like movie soundtracks or movie scores. At least in terms of how I relate to it. Like there are some people who, when they watch a movie, can be blown away by the musical score. That doesn't mean they're going to go, to a streaming service and put on that musical score and listen to it or buy the album or something like that. They want to enjoy the music in the area in which it was meant to be. And for me, EDM has, I mean, the times we've gone dancing and EDM has played, I've enjoyed that music. But for me, is it going to be the type of music I'm going to be putting on in my day-to-day tasks? No. But it's about that experience. I mean, am I off base here?
Like it's appropriate to its place.
It's appropriate to its place, but for people that really enjoy that music, like for me with movie scores or movie soundtracks, I am the type of person that, depending on the movie, of course, I would buy that soundtrack or listen to the streaming, but not everybody, is into that. There are some people that, just the only time they want to hear that music is if they watch that movie.
Yeah, well, sometimes you can't get what you want.
But you get what you need, right?
Yeah.
All right.
What's your next one?
All right, my number four choice is one of three women that are on my top 100 list this year.
Okay, let's take a pause and point this out that 10 in no way means to insult every female musician in the world by choosing only three of you for his top 100.
Yes, because again, this is information that they were able to put together based on my listening habits and what I listen to every day. So it's a sausage fest coming out of my speaker at work, right?
It really is a sausage fest. And yeah, I mean, maybe women's music made by people of different genders and different backgrounds and, a diversity of music, maybe that would help you relate better
Oh, I don't
to
relate
women,
well
to women.
to women. Oh yes, they love me anyway. I mean, at the end of the day, like what you like. I don't think people should necessarily beat themselves up for, just sticking with what they like musically. But it is important to experiment and try stuff out, and that is the beauty of streaming services. Now, in terms of like diversity, I would say that if you saw my top 100, and it is available on the show's YouTube page. I mean, you'll see in terms of diversity, there's plenty of other diversity in that list. But as far as the female side of things goes, not so much.
Hmm.
But next year's a different year, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could try to expand your horizons.
You can try. We know it ain't gonna happen, but you can try.
Make an effort, have that be your New Year's resolution and let it, last a few days.
Well, what I try to make a habit of too is like I said, I have one big playlist that I listen to at work. It has a little over 500 songs on there. But what I found is that you put any type of playlist like that, and it doesn't matter what streaming service you have, it's generally gonna, if you just hit shuffle on your major playlist, it's still generally gonna play you the same songs,
Hmm.
maybe in different orders or whatever, but there's a lot of songs on my playlist that don't normally come up. So I do make an effort to try and, remove some over time and then add some more artists at that point. So yeah, maybe I'll add in some Juice Newton. How about that? Should,
Okay.
should be number 4 next year. You went to number 4.
Yeah, four in the top 100, but
Yeah.
progress is progress.
Anyway, my number 4 choice is by one Miss Cyndi Lauper, and it's Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Okay, well, if you had to choose one song of one of the three, and certainly the only one in the top five, it would be this song is good. I like that.
Yes, she approves. Thank you.
Yes.
It's easily one of the best songs of the 80s. It's what I've loved about this song too is this is one similar to Balls for the Wall earlier in the year that I found myself listening to over and over again on the way to work, and just it's nice having that upbeat, cheerful feeling that that song gives you. I mean, it is one hell of a wonderful, positive song. Positive in the lyrics, but also just positive in the music. You want to celebrate, you want to jump, you want to dance when you listen to this song, even if you're dancing goofy like she does in the video.
Yeah.
Beautiful song. What do you have to say about it?
Well, I remember when this first came out, when the video first came out, and how I was just riveted. It was a time of Madonna, and so it would have been really easy, I think, to paint Cyndi Lauper as a sort of Madonna poser, but her style, while being just as eccentric, was so different and so obviously her style. And it made me want to have that independence and that great style.
Agreed, agreed. Under normal circumstances, I would add my 2 cents onto that. But if you hang tight, folks, after our main event topic here, I think we're going to talk about her a little bit more. So how
Yeah.
about you dive into your number 4?
Okay, number four. This song is called Drugs from Amsterdam, and it's by Mal P. So, again, a song that is going to be sampled in other songs, right? And the hook is off my face, don't know where I am because I got my drugs from Amsterdam, which just cracks me up. Just thinking about that, like being in Amsterdam and totally messed up and I mean, what are you supposed to do? And the whole song is sort of about that, is like,
Yeah, because I can imagine it in like certain parts of the world where certain drugs may be legal that are not legal here. They may have a higher potency, so it would be distressful in a way to have something like that occur, and you're like, what the hell, man?
right.
But when was this a song that you discovered by putting on the YouTube while you're working, and it just via a playlist popped up for you, or is this something that you've heard previously in your EDM adventures and decided to dig a little more into their catalog?
Well, this all of these songs, other than number one, I probably had never listened to before this year because I do depend on the algorithm to give me new music.
Unlike you, Tim, I don't listen to the same stuff over and over again.
Well, there's definitely something to be said for owning your media and not trusting the algorithm or giving the algorithm that information about what music you like to listen to. There's something to be said for that.
Hmm.
That's not my way. I've been onto the streaming since Pandora and Napster before that. And so I've always had this attitude towards technology as like they're going to get whatever they want. And eventually that's going to be like biometric information and just everything about you.
Yeah, I mean there's a story that is told in that was told in Apple stores when like during training and whatnot about the type of information that companies get from you, and they talked about a young woman who was like 14 or 15 who was pregnant, who didn't tell her parents, but her parents ended up finding out because their daughter, their 14-year-old daughter, had an ad from Target arrive in the mail talking about congratulations on the new baby. Here's some coupons for, various baby related things.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's it, people don't think about the type of information that you sell now. Like for at least the next 4 years, there's no chance of any type of reform, and well beyond that too. I think it's going to be really hard to get it reformed. And like on the one hand, I think people would be comfortable with some information being thrown out there, but I don't think people really truly have the scope of just how much information of yours is out in the social media wilderness that's being sold and making people like Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk lots of money.
Hmm. Yep. 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 Yep.
So, any more thoughts on Malp?
No, it's a fun song.
All right, how about I go on to my number three?
Yeah, number three.
All right, number three. We both have waxed poetic about this particular song here over the past year, and I can't believe it just had its first birthday here not too long ago. But from the Beatles, their last song ever, Now and Then. As I've stated on the show before when we've talked about it, what I've really come to love about this song is it in a lot of ways it shows how great they were as a band by showing that you don't have to be super complex to still get something complex. The lyrics are very simple, but that simplicity allows every person who listens to that song to really have their own meaning as to what this song could be. And for me, I think of my mom because without her, I would not be a Beatles fan. And it's the video and the song when it came out was just like I said, the song itself sounds like it was intentionally made as like this is the end, like something you would hear in a movie closing credits. The Beatles movie at the end, it's Now and Then. And but also just how the lyrics are written by Lennon. I have that personal connection too, and that's was the beauty of their music. The way they wrote, they themselves may have had one very specific meaning, but how they wrote it and expressed it in their music allowed everybody else to have their own meaning as well.
Well, and Lennon was a quite abstract in his art forms. Songs like Dig a Pony, but there are others where the music is what's important, not the lyric.
I am the walrus.
Yeah, I am the walrus. Yes. So I think there are both those things can be true.
Do you have any thoughts now and then from the Beatles? I know you were a big fan of it as well.
Oh yeah, super big fan. I maybe listened to it more last year or something. No, surely not. It just came out at the beginning of this year.
No, it came out around November of 2023.
Yeah, I didn't, but so anyway, we don't need to know when I listened to it. We just need to know that I liked it. It's interesting to me that it made you think of your mom. I think that's so sweet and not at all my interpretation of the song, and just pointing out what you're saying about everybody gets their own voice in the story, because it is broad enough to give meaning to a wide array of human experiences.
Yeah, because, that's the beauty of what songs do. I mean, they are the best ones are ones that, will speak to you, that you have that personal connection to. In some way, shape, or form. I mean, it could be the lonely person that's just had a breakup that puts on Patsy Cline's Crazy. That's their song because, like, they were crazy for loving that person who's not in their life anymore, type of deal. Yeah, just one hell of a beautiful song.
Sometimes, so listening to this song actually didn't relate it back to my life. I thought about the Beatles and I thought about them each individually and what it must have been like for them to grow up where they grew up at the time they grew up there and end up where they ended up. Like, and so I just sort of thought through all the heartbreak and heartache they had to go through, and the fact that they were just normal people until they were adults. And just sad that John Lennon died and they're all old and dying now, and it just brings you in touch with your own mortality.
Yep, we're all gonna kick the bucket one day. Eloquently put. Anyway,
Yeah, and I don't know that it matters that we remember John Lennon. Maybe John Lennon is in each of us who enjoyed the Beatles' music. So we remember John Lennon because he was an important figure. Nobody's going to remember me. Like, hopefully, by the time I die, everybody that knew me will already be dead. Like, hopefully, I will live forever. But assuming that doesn't happen, nobody's going to remember me. But I loved John Lennon. And so, in that way, in having that personal relationship with people, those parasocial relationships, it is sort of a piece of that popular culture immortality.
indeed.
Does that make any sense?
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I do think you do have a little bit of a pessimistic bent in terms of nobody's going to remember me. Like, yeah, with 7 billion people on the planet, yeah, not everybody's going to be written into the history books, but that doesn't mean you didn't make an impact for people.
Sure, sure. No, totally. I'm just saying I'm no John Lennon, which I think that we all have to agree with.
But I think he would also argue too, and if you read some of his last interviews, like he talked about this, of the fact of he would just point out that he is just a guy. He's a guy that, put in the work because if you know about the Beatles' history, the reason they became as good as they were was because they spent a lot of time before they got famous playing music and playing music and playing music, the Star Club in Hamburg that they played in. They had, I believe, 2 or 3 shows a day that they had to play, like 7 days a week, and basically 8 hours of work that they had to do during that time. So it's like they got really good because they put the work in, and they just happened to find the right person in Brian Epstein that was able to get them, uh, you know, into the public eye. So he would just counter that. While, yeah, I'm sure he would understand that his work will be talked about in years to come, and that would be something for anybody to pat themselves on the back for. He is still just a guy, because he talked about being upset in 1980 about how people were already kind of deifying Jim Morrison.
Oh, uh-huh.
And he just pointed out, and he wasn't knocking the doors. I did not interpret it as him trying to knock the doors, but just him trying to say that, Jim Morrison was just a guy who had some problems. I mean, he that's how Morrison sadly ended up passing away as early as he did. But again, he was just a guy. And I think he was also too trying to point out too, I think the fact that he was just a guy, that Lennon was just a guy, and was still able to come out with that type of content that's going to be talked about for years to come, can both be true, I guess, if that
Right.
makes sense. So,
Yeah.
anyway, how about you dive in to your number three?
My number three is On My Mind by Diplo and Side Piece. So everybody needs a good Diplo on their top five. So this is mine. You stay on my mind. I think about you all the time.
Okay.
Yep.
What about this song speaks to you?
It's just about that sort of when you meet somebody and it's exciting and you think about them all the time.
Anne-Marie.
You really want to get to know them better. You really want to know about them and learn everything you can about them. And
What
that's
kind of
sort of,
oatmeal do you like? Type of deal.
well,
Mm,
not that,
okay.
not as trivial as that, but like, where'd you grow up and what kind of music do you like? And, on and on.
All right.
And so that's what it reminds me of. And that sort of energy, that new relationship energy. So that's lovely.
Indeed. Is this a song that again came up on a random playlist, or is this something that you've heard
Yeah, random
before?
playlist. As I mentioned, every single one of them were on a random playlist except for the first one.
All right. And well, and now they are part of your regular playlist. Look at that.
Exactly.
All right.
They're definitely so I did a playlist called AB 2024, which is were my favorite songs of the year. So like when I was enjoying a song throughout the year, I would save it to this playlist. And definitely these songs made it onto that playlist because then I would just that's what I would listen to on repeat.
All right. Little musical time capsule for you.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, maybe I should spruce up in the coming year my playlist and do the playlist differently. But, we'll see what happens. And
Yeah.
next year it'll be the same top five. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right. How about I go into my number two?
Yes, please.
All right, I've loved this song for a long time. It and what the last time we talked about it on the show, I forgot to mention that some session players that were on this song, one John McVie from Fleetwood Mac, I believe he played the bass on this song, and one Mick Fleetwood played the drums on
Hey,
this song. Werewolves of London from Warren Zevon.
Warren Zevon does not get the credit he deserves.
He should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He should. It is an absolute crime among many crimes that organization has done on keeping him out. But anyway, back to something positive here. I've been listening to this song a lot at work because of the dogs. And what I've been trying to do, and it's worked on a couple of occasions, is when I sing the song and it gets to the point to the ow, I
Uh-huh.
want them to sing along with me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and there have been a couple of times, like I have one little uh, high-spirited one.
Uh-huh.
Just she loves me to death, but she's high-spirited, barks a lot, and some of the other dogs will get annoyed with her.
Uh-huh.
But
And then they'll nip at her.
that has happened.
Hmm.
I mean, that happened tonight. But
Really?
yeah, but there, what I what I did, I kind of modified it with her when I was singing it because like she loves to be vocal, and like what I will do with her at times is go rah 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 rah, and then she will come back at me with a similar, but she has a more gruff bark
Uh-huh.
when she does that, but
Uh-huh.
it's like rah 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 type
Uh-huh.
of deal, and it's like yeah, it's like rah 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 rah, where was it London, and then she shot back at me with it. So That was fun.
Oh, yeah, that sounds really fun.
Yeah, and there was one dog who was the first one I tried to get to sing along. He's never done it, but he's also the type of dog that anytime a siren goes by that building, he's out.
Oh, really?
Always,
Yeah.
always howling. But when I do it, he just looks at me with his head cocked. Okay, yeah. 14 grammatical errors there, I'm human, but okay.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Uh-huh.
type of deal. But Warren Zevon, as you mentioned, like it is a crime when you see an artist of this caliber really kind of fading away from, public consciousness. It's like, yeah, we are aware of him, but if I ask my oldest, about who Warren Zevon was, I can probably guess that he would not know.
Sure.
But I can also see like my mother having the same argument when she was my age. My kid just doesn't know Ronnie Millsap, or something like that.
Right.
So it's one of those.
It'd be like a child not knowing Bob Dylan. Like, that's how I would feel about it.
You'd be like, what? No,
No, I was just think, gosh, you really need to listen to it.
yeah, no, yeah. You would not slap a kid.
No. No.
Shut up. Anything you would like to say about Warren Zevon and Where Was in London?
I love Warren Zevon. I love the song. I've sung it in karaoke a number of times. Just a really fun. It's a really fun one.
It really is too, because of the, and I'm glad you mentioned the karaoke aspect. Like, I think it's one of those songs that, regardless of the type of voice you have in terms of timbre, whether it be a deep bass, baritone or bass voice like I have, or higher up on the scale, you can still dive into this song and it will still sound, cross fingers, generally good. But what I mean by that is, could I sing this song in karaoke and do a passable version? Yes. Would that passable version be something that people would want to buy? No, but that's not why you do karaoke.
No, exactly.
Yeah, so
Everybody gets to sing at karaoke.
exactly. They better.
Everybody's a star.
It's communist. Anyway, how about you dive into your number two?
All right, my number two is from Kleptones. Not the Kleptones, just Kleptones. It sometimes annoys me when people add a article at the beginning of something that doesn't have one. But anyway, Kleptones. And it's another EDM setup. I think it's one guy. I think he's English, but these things I don't know for sure. And
It could be an Argentinian woman.
it could be like, oh, sorry. It could be. So, okay, so this is a mashup. And I've been way into mashups the last couple of years. And I think that if you don't know mashups, you really should try. And there are a couple of people that you should listen to, and Kleptones is one of them. So they take different songs and more than sample, they give you more of the song than just a sample that then gets mixed with a bunch of other samples, if you know what I'm saying. So a mashup is going to focus on, say, two songs, have lots of other samples in it, but like you get more of the song itself.
The kind of mashups I've enjoyed in the past are where they take like two, like in terms of like music I like, but they will take like a Motown song and a metal song, and then kind of in terms of like tempo, kind of put them together and show that like Papa Was a Rolling Stone weirdly mixes with a Black Sabbath song.
Right. Yeah, same kind of thing. So this is an example of that because this is the Beatles come together with Beastie Boys. And Boston, right?
More than a few.
Remember Boston? So all B bands, and that's just baller. So I suggest that you check out the Kleptones.
Damn right, yo,
Yo,
word
Entourage.
for life. Hand gesture and all. All right. Before I dive into my number one choice here, with all of this aggregate information that they've collected on us, we have a couple of bits of information here for me. And that is one, this year I've spent a total amount of 40,569 minutes listening to music this year. And if I do the math in my head alone, and not with any sort of help with anything whatsoever, 40,569 minutes is 676 hours and 9 minutes of music listening on my part. Again, I came up with this information all by myself with no other help.
How many?
40,569 minutes equals 676 hours and 9 minutes.
676 hours. And in 40-hour weeks, how many would that be?
16. And once again, I came up with this information all by myself.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that you listen to music the same amount as working full time for 16 weeks.
Apparently,
That's 4 months.
that's a lot of music.
Yeah.
Also, my top artist this year, no surprise, Led Zeppelin, Metallica, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, and Nirvana. I'm surprised Led Zeppelin's on there because I have cut down severely the amount of Zeppelin tracks on my playlist. I think next year I would be absolutely shocked if they ended up showing up on the list. But the number one song on my list here that YouTube Music tells me I first listened to on January 1st of this year and have a total listen time of 739 minutes is Smells Like Teen Spirit by
Uh-huh.
Nirvana.
Yep.
If you go back into our show archives to episode 352, which happened in 2024, one episode I'm definitely proud of, that was our time to remember the life of Kurt Cobain. Because when we released it on April 8th of 2024, which was 30 years to the day when I first heard the news of his passing.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And on that particular episode, we went to Seattle. And when you hear us talk, we are in Seattle at the locations that we were talking about.
Yeah.
But but the reason what ended up becoming number one on my list this year is that when I do have a big project like that, again, music just has to go on repeat to get me in that mood. And I was really trying to get my head, just laser focused on doing the best we could possibly do to put out a good episode. I think we did. And as far as the song itself goes, like, what a fucking classic, right? I mean, this is the palate cleanser that rock music needed in 1991. In a different multiverse somewhere, maybe Metallica first gets that honor, but what a time to live in when you had a music sensation like this occur. Like maybe young women today can relate to this somewhat if they're like Taylor Swift fans, but I don't know if Taylor Swift had as much of a musical impact as Nirvana did when they first came out. It's not like when she put out like one of her first albums, like an entire genre of music ended up dying, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they were a highly influential band.
That they were. I mean, the video is an absolute classic. Kind of had vibes of Rock and Roll High School. Plus, I guess there was a early Matt Dillon movie that Cobain was inspired by as well, where the kids, like take over a school and burn it down and stuff like that. So it speaks to that angst that a lot of teenagers or young people have of, I want to destroy all the old stuff around me and have the new stuff, seeing the home in Olympia to where this song was inspired was very cool.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It was great. Just like the Beatles, he was just a regular guy.
he was, because I mean, I've said this on the show before, like that apartment I would probably have a problem getting into it in terms of renting it with my credit being the way it is. So for someone like Kurt Cobain, who we've talked about musical artists that are going to be talked about 200 years from now, I think he's going to be on that list as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, Smells Like Teen Spirit. Like what more can be said about it that hasn't already been said? It's easily one of the best rock songs ever, and probably, let's be honest, the last big gasp of rock music.
Well, we never know what's going to happen in the future, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely love to
Never
be.
say never.
I would definitely love to be wrong, but also I also understand that music evolves, taste evolve. There was a point that maybe somebody in the 40s thought, "Oh, Frank Sinatra will be around forever." and some people still know him, yes, but anyway, as far as Nirvana listening, they tell me that I'm part of the 0.1% of Nirvana listeners on YouTube Music, and I've listened to them 98 times more than the average listener.
Wow.
Yeah, I think the next year will definitely be different because what I found was that once I put that episode out, I didn't really want to listen to as much Nirvana anymore. It was like,
Yeah.
this project is done.
Yes. I had the exact same experience.
Yeah, yeah. So next year will definitely be a little different. Now, do I think Smells Like Teen Spirit will end up in my top 100 again? I would be shocked if it didn't. But I hope, not hope, that's the wrong word. I think by next year, because there will not be a big Cobain project in my future, as far as I know at least, I think it'll be lower on the list.
Sure.
Yeah. Any thoughts on Smells Like Teen Spirit?
No, I mean, everything you just said about it, and love it.
Yes. All right. So how about you fill us in on your music year and then tell us your number one?
Sure. So, turns out I listened to about half the amount of music that you did. I listened to 16,799 minutes of music.
Wasn't that one of the songs from Rent? No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
16,799. Something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's other things I can tell you. My listening this year was vibing, peppy, electro, fresh, and electronic. So double electro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Word, biatch.
fresh, freaky fresh.
Fresh with a PH, not an F.
That's right.
All right.
Okay, my top albums were Abbey Road, #1, Super Deluxe. Get Back, Rooftop Performance. And then a Diplo album, Do You Dance? And then a Dead Mouse 5 album, which is an EDM thing.
Dead
And
Mouse, I believe their group name is.
oh, Dead Mouse. What did I say? Mouse 5.
Yeah, Dead Mouse.
Dead Mouse 5.
That's like,
You know Dead Mouse.
I know the name. Yeah, I'm familiar with that name because of the unique spelling. But it sounds like you're initiating like nuclear protocols or something. Dead Mouse 5. We're in Dead Mouse 5.
Dead Mouse 5. Okay, anyway, Death Mouse 5, for lack of a better name, is what it's called. Which is funny. It's sort of tongue in cheek, that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then finally, MTV Unplugged in New York, Nirvana, which is an album that I subsequently purchased at the Museum of Pop Culture when we were there.
Yes. Now,
So
is
that's
there some sort of a math equation I can have you go through?
no.
Okay. So what is yeah yeah? I'll ask you what I want. Anyway, what is your number one?
Okay, so my #1 is a song that I absolutely adore. It's called Lose Yourself to Dance, and it's by Daft Punk. And Daft Punk the song is from 2013, and Daft Punk was very popular back then. But I'd never listened to Daft Punk until last year. Let me back that up.
Ooh, back that ass
I
up. Yeah.
never listened to Daft Punk before last year.
And they're like, that's like discovering that you'd never used oxygen before.
No,
Okay.
no, let's not be dramatic about it.
Yeah.
I just mean, what a gem, what a hidden gem. And the world is full of them, but I happened to find this one. And so they're the DJs who wore the helmets for a long time. And, dance music's really good dance music. And Lose Yourself to Dance. One of the reasons I love it is the video. And in the video, it is from Burning Man 2013. Just a video of different people at Burning Man singing this song with the actual song the playing. So it was like they're lip syncing. All these different people are lip syncing, and when I look at it, it just makes me like happy and excited to go back to Burning Man, but not in a like, oh, Burning Man, not in that kind of way, more in the just like, oh, that's super fun.
Okay.
Yeah, number one.
Number one with
My
boy.
number one was super fun.
This letter comes to us from Professor Aubrey. Any Casey Kasem joke there. But
Yes.
all right. Music is one hell of a tonic for jangled nerves. 2024 historically is going to go down as one hell of an interesting year, to put it mildly. And one thing music can do is help your mental health during turbulent times. And so our hope here is that by us talking about our favorite music and by you taking the time out of your day to go to our show description and click on that link that will bring you to YouTube so you can listen to this playlist on your own, we hope you have a good time to end 2024.
Absolutely.
That we do. Any
A
other
good
thoughts?
end, a good end to 2024.
Yes, that's right, because something has to be good this year, right?
You can enjoy our playlist to counteract all the bad feelings you might be having about politics. It's
Exactly.
all you need is our playlist.
That's why we're here, folks, to help out the world. How about we let one of our friends in the podcasting world talk about their show real quick before I say anything else stupid?
All right, sounds good.
All right, hang tight, folks.
What's up, everybody? I'm Matt, the host of the Beard Laws Podcast, a podcast that has nothing to do with beards. A podcast where we aim to entertain and interact with our live viewers, but our listeners, they're like the quiet person that never talks sitting around the bonfire because the rest of the group is so entertaining, hilarious, wild, and a little bit dumb. So grab a drink, grab a snack, and let Beard Laws and the boys, Toby, Brandon, Logan, Zach, Richie, and our occasional special guest entertain you. We're live on the Beard Laws YouTube Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and for whatever reason you want to see us and or our beards, check us out, thebeardlawspodcast.com. We're everywhere.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Before we wrap things up this week, we have another tradition here to end the year on. And since this is the second year in a row we're doing this, it is now tradition. Professor Aubrey talking about her Christmas present haul of the year.
Oh my God! It just happened just now, just today. Like, unexpectedly, here comes the big box from my aunt and uncle in Tennessee.
All right.
So excited always to see what's in the box. Now, I do send a list of things via Amazon that I'm interested in getting, but I try to provide a wide variety so that they can have fun picking something out. They may not appreciate that. They may rather me just tell them one thing that I want them to purchase. I guess I'm projecting upon them that I enjoy picking things out for other people. And so I was just thinking they also do, but I don't know that they do. That's a weird assumption for me to make, but
And when
it
you assume, no, anyway.
that's right. So anyway, I got a lovely peacock colored teal very soft sweater wrap kind of deal. Very warm, very cozy, very soft, very nice, very nice. I got a pair of leggings with fleece inside to keep me warm. And finally, I got a bag. It's called a hobo bag. But of course, a hobo would never have a bag that nice. But it looks like a bag that you could put on the end of a stick and look like a hobo. So it's called a hobo bag. It's a lovely blue hobo bag that matches the wrap. So I have a whole blue accessory thing happening, which is cool because it's my favorite color.
So If in a town near you, you see Professor Aubrey sitting on a train that's going by eating pork and beans from a can with a travel bag,
There you go.
you know where she got it.
Yep. Got it for Christmas.
That's right. I know you were quite happy when you received that, and it was weird how you received that. But in terms of where it was ultimately delivered, but that's a different story for a different day.
Yeah, it was just not in the ordinary delivery location.
Yeah. Thanks.
I mean, it's weird. I want to know what happened, but we'll never know.
Yeah. I mean, at least you got it.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't stolen.
Yeah.
But any other wishes of gratitude you would like to say to your family?
Oh, well, like, of course. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the gifts. It's always such a fun thing every year when it comes, the big box of presents. And the other thing I'm doing on the other flip side of the coin is making a lot of treats. I'm making about 300 individual cookies and candies.
Good Lord, that's a lot of cooking candy.
Yeah, that's going to go into 25 boxes, actually bags, full of little bags that have been sealed with the sealing machine. 6 different items in each bag. This is all going to happen. Sure. This is the plan. I have 2 of these items already finished. One of these items I tried and it totally flopped. So I had to rethink what I was doing there. And oh no, have 3 items done. So I really just have 3 items left.
Yeah, everybody wins.
Anyway, it's a good time. So the ones I have done already are the maple pecans with a little spice and the peanut butter candy, which my mother and I made the other day. To anybody who's listening who knows about this peanut butter candy, I'm very excited about it. It's my favorite candy in the world. And we used to always make it at Christmas time with my grandmother. So mom and I made it this year, and I haven't even tried it. Like, people who know me will be amazed that I have 4 logs of peanut butter candy in my refrigerator, and I have not had a bite.
It looked like, yeah, when you brought them in the boxes, it looked like, at first I was like, do you have a peanut butter burrito there?
Yeah, that's what they look like as burritos.
But I assume that once they come out of the fridge at their appropriate time, you're going to cut them up.
Yeah, they get cut into pinwheels.
Yeah.
Really cute little round pinwheels. So I have that, and then I made double ginger molasses cookies. They were also made with brown butter, which apparently is a process that takes a really long time to get the butter to brown. And then as soon as it browns, you have to stop browning it or it will burn. So it's one of those foods that is very tricky to make.
So something I would not have the patience to do right, and it would flop.
Oh yeah, you could not make these cookies. There's
Yeah.
no way that you can make these cookies. But they turned out I had half of a cookie of the 70 cookies that were produced. I had half of one and it was really delicious.
Well, good to hear on that point, and I have been the recipient of previous years' cookies and candies and have always enjoyed the results.
Yay! I think this year will be better than ever.
All right, yeah, they better be. No, we'll come back to this episode. You said they would be better. Anyway.
All right, Tim.
Anyway, I'm being silly, but speaking of silly, but I mean this in the most fun, positive way possible. I saw Cyndi Lauper in concert.
Oh my God.
This girl had a lot of fun, let me tell you.
I bet you did.
That I did is easily, I gotta be honest, easily one of the best concerts I think I've ever been to. And
Wow.
I've seen a number of legendary artists perform, and obviously Cyndi Lauper's on that list. You were speaking earlier about the comparison to Madonna, and like when it comes to the concert itself, like plenty of keyboards, yes, but the stage setup is very similar to what you would see at like a rock show.
Uh-huh.
Because Madonna's more of the choreographed, having the tons of dancers, the stage. It's kind of, it's like part concert, part Broadway play, part burlesque.
Exactly.
Whereas with Cyndi Lauper, whether it be in the 80s or today, it is just presented as a concert, as, popular music concerts are usually presented with, the instruments on stage, the singer doing their thing.
Yep.
But was able to record some of the show, which I really enjoyed, and I was able to show you some clips.
Yes, and I could tell from just watching the clips how amazing it must have been to be there, even though you did not have a good seat. It was anytime that you see somebody in person, it's just such a different thing than hearing them or seeing them on TV.
Yeah, yeah. Like me, I've never been the type of person to really care about where I sit at a concert, because it's about just being there for me. Yeah. If you see if anybody saw the photos and videos that I saw, like they were so blurry and small that you'd be like, it could be Cyndi Lauper, but it could be a speck on my camera lens too.
But the good thing is they had the Jumbotron, and so your video was mostly a video of the Jumbotron, but you could see her running around on the stage.
Yeah. Speaking of that, the last song that she played after the encore was "Girls Just Want to Have Fun," and ooh, like I loved that experience. I loved her version, but one thing that grinded my gears was impolite concert goers. When
Mm.
you're 6'5", you learn very early that in a setting like that, to where you have seats with other people around you, if you stand up, everybody behind you is not going to see crap.
Uh-huh.
And for me, I try to be as respectful as I can. Now, everybody in front of me didn't care about that. They wanted to see, including the woman that was in front of me. I nicknamed her Golga. Um, she, yeah, had the physique of a linebacker from the 1972 Pittsburgh Steelers, and it felt like she was like psychically linked to me in terms of wants to turn to the left, me go to the left. Go to the right now. Go wants Cindy. you know, I,
Wow.
I just, luckily with the camera, I was able to your point, have the camera during the girls just want to have fun part aimed at the screen. So, you don't see much of Golga, but I didn't see that bit in person because of those inconsiderate people. And I get that you're in a concert, but again, still, like, you can't let emotion overwhelm you so much that everybody else behind you gets fucked.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's so hard to know whether to get up or not. Now, I prefer an audience that gets up, which is why I stand in the general admission area on the floor because I want to stand up.
Yeah, and depending on the show, I got no problem standing up too. But like, if you're in the cheap seats, and with how they have the cheap seats, situated and whatnot, unless you're like in the very back row or in an aisle seat or something like that, to where you can stand up into the walkway if you have to or whatever, just a little common courtesy wouldn't hurt anybody. But it didn't hurt Golga. She got to see the concert.
Yeah, Golga saw it.
Yeah, but anyways, overall, I really had a good time. And one thing that I did notice throughout the entire concert was her kind of harkening back to history. Like before she sang "The Goonies Are Good Enough," she started talking about Rowdy Piper. And
Really?
because Roddy Piper, he lived in Portland, Oregon until the day he died. And, she talked about his family. She talked about the Iron Sheik. She talked about Classy Freddie Blassie, Fabulous Moolah, Andre the Giant. Like, I'm sitting there, like, tears going down my face. Like, she said the thing that I know, type of deal. But
Oh,
I love that, too, because it seems like, especially in music, you have people, at least behind the scenes, not necessarily the artists themselves, but the people running the artist, for lack of a better phrase, that treats the music like a product and only focuses on the primary audience for that product and nothing else. What do I mean by that? Like, do I think Cyndi Lauper in her personal life has anywhere close to the amount of interest in professional wrestling that I do? No, but the fact that she did take time out of her early career to be involved in professional wrestling, and the fact that she talks about it so glowingly to this day, like, talks about the importance of not underestimating people that you may not think would like your stuff. It's like maybe most wrestling fans, maybe 90% of wrestling fans, maybe they liked the angle but didn't necessarily like the music, but she still got an extra 10% that she would not have had before if she didn't do that, you know?
Right, and at the beginning of her career.
At the beginning, especially in terms of the wide public exposure. But in terms of other history stuff that she talked about too, she did talk about some serious stuff, you know, talked about how she remembered in the 70s that as a woman, you couldn't get a credit card unless you had a man sign off on it, like your father or husband.
Yeah, whoa.
When she introed the song Sally's Pigeons, she talked about reproductive health care because Sally's Pigeons, she wrote that song for a friend that passed away thanks to a hanger.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Let's not. Oh, God. It's so terrible.
it is.
Oh, my God. It's like so preventable.
And it made me think, you know, how she kept on talking about that history sprinkled throughout the show. It really made me think that and this is just me speculating because I haven't heard anything definitive, but if like in an alternate universe, if the events that started in 2016 that led to Roe v. Wade being overturned a few years later did not happen, I don't know if she's necessarily ending her, public concert career on this big of a stage. Why do I say it like that? Because throughout the show, and before you walked in, there were plenty of signs talking about it. A lot of the merchandise, the proceeds from the merchandise that she sold, went to the Girls Just Want to Have Fundamental Rights Fund. It's a donor-advised fund involved with the Tides Foundation. So what I'm assuming that is like the Tides Foundation will say it would be good to give money to X, Y, and Z. Maybe you can. Does that?
No, it's more like that organization is sort of a clearinghouse that handles the cash and then administers that to the donors who then make the decisions about where that money is sent.
Yeah, and I will have this link in the show description here, but a number of the charities that are being supported support safe, legal abortion and reproductive health care access, reproductive justice advocacy, and get out the vote efforts and whatnot. I really think that she did this knowing her stature, knowing how her music affected people. One, she wanted people to have a good time, and I had one hell of a time. I will say that, but I think also for the younger folks in the crowd, but I think for everybody as well, it was a reminder that something serious is happening. And, with musicians today, like the touring, unfortunately, it doesn't matter the type of musician that they are. Touring is where most musicians are going to make a majority of their money. So I think she did this as a way to be able to get a lot of money fast for, these organizations, which is why I bought a pink wig.
Right.
So that's one reason I got that, as well as the t-shirts. But I think the important thing here is, we got to fight ahead of us. And it's heartening to see her do this in what I feel is as inclusive way as possible, because that's another thing I enjoyed about being there, being in the vibe of her music and whatnot. How it felt like everybody felt welcome. It wasn't like me there, watching something that I hadn't, not, in like an analytical way or something like that. It was just a fun experience, right? But just, I'm glad I did it. I would say there were a number of great songs that I saw performed time after time. I think for me was probably one of the highlights of the show, if only for the lighting grid and how it
Yeah.
was over the audience at that particular time. But that was also when she encouraged people to have the flashlights on their phones on,
Yeah.
type of deal. Just one hell of a fun experience overall, and I'm really glad I challenged myself to get out of the house to go see her.
I am too, and I'm really glad that you had a good time.
Yes. So, any thoughts on Cyndi Lauper?
Nope, just the ones we've had.
Yes. Again, the link to information about how you could potentially support the Girls Just Want to Have Fundamental Rights Fund will be in the show description. And again, that webpage itself will have a whole list of other, like the Lilith Fund. I think we've mentioned the Lilith Fund on the show before.
Sure.
Type of deals. These are unique times we are living in, folks, and a lot of people, a lot of marginalized people are gonna need our help, and I think we all have to do what we can to support.
Of course.
Yes. All right. Any other thoughts on that you want to relay to our friends at home, or would you like to wrap things up for the year?
Yeah, let's wrap it up for the year.
All right, 2024, eat a bag of dicks. Each Monday, we'll have something in this podcast space to entertain your ear holes. Until we meet again, we bid you adieu.
Farewell.
Auf Wiedersehen, people. Subscribe to Friends Talking Nerdy
On YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Goodbye, darling.